Okay, so now that you have created your axes, you've labeled everything. You've labeled you put a title up there. We're going to have all of our data, our known data plotted. We are going to take a ruler and we're going to create a best fit line. Okay, so what your goal with a best fit line is you want to make sure that the ruler fits the line that goes through here, of course, is going to be linear. It's going to be straight, but you want to make sure that it's kind of the average of all these points. And by that, I mean you want to make sure you have the same number above as below. So if I took this line here and I were to draw that, that would be wrong because all of my data is above it. If I were to draw a line here, that would be wrong because all of that data is above it. If I were to draw this line, that just doesn't make any sense because the line is much sharper than that. It's much steeper than that. So you kind of have to pick a line that kind of averages them out. We don't need to cross any or all of our dots. Okay, so we're going to create one where there's the same number above and below. You'll draw that in. There we go. That is our trend line. Okay, maybe a little bit poor. Probably could have been down just a little bit. Probably just because I'm not using something that I can get close to the paper. And then finally, we can extrapolate this. We can continue it on further by just adding a dashed line in until we hit our axes. So there we go. This is our density as a function of ethanol. So if if you check the density of your unknown, you're going to notice that you have some value. So let's say the density of your unknown turns out to be 0.983 grams per milliliter. Let's assume that that's what you got from your experimental data on that last part. Well, if the density of your unknown is 0.983, you find out where you are. So here's 0.98, and we go up 3. That is about where the density of your unknown is. If we go across to our trend line, okay, if you go across to your trend line, nice straight line, this is where it hits. The fact that it hits there, we can now measure that, line that up with the x-axis, create a dashed line down here, and we see right there, that is my unknown alcohol. So with the density unknown of 9.83, go over to the trend line, then we go down. It hits right there, halfway between 5 and 10. That's actually a little bit further than halfway, so my percent alcohol would equal about 8%. Okay, so that's how we correlate the data. This line tells us how density correlates or relates to percent ethanol. The lower the density, the more alcohol you have present. The less alcohol, the higher the density. Good.